Hello, Frizzle Federation! I have been using Booktone for a few months now, and I have learned a lot about my reading taste and how to find books that I like from using this. So this video is going to be breaking down all that with a lot of statistics and pretty graphs along the way. Now, what is Booktone? This is a reader personality test that I designed. It categorizes books and readers into one of 14 personality types. And these are categorized based on two factors. One, does this reader like to read intellectual or emotional books? And two, does this reader like plot-driven, character-driven, or atmosphere-driven books, or any mixture of those? And that every book can also be assigned a book tone, and you are most likely to enjoy the books that match your personality type. Got it? And if you want more information on how Booktone works, how to find out your own book tone, how to figure out where a book belongs on this chart, I've got an entire video breaking all of that down, and I'll link that in the footnotes for you to find. So now that we have all of that elementary stuff out of the way, let's look at some graphs. This graph is everyone who has taken the Booktone personality test. So from this sample of readers, we can see that the most common type is uranium blue, and the least common type is international orange. However, it's a pretty good distribution across all of the colors. But from these results, you might be thinking, if you were an author trying to get the next New York Times bestseller, then you really shouldn't write an orange book or a gray book. You should just be writing blue all the way till the cows come home, only character focused. But of course, that isn't true. And here we get into the even more interesting statistics. Because I categorized the last 426 books that I read into what book tone they were, and we can see some really interesting patterns from that. So this graph is the average Goodreads rating for each of the books in these categories. And you know what makes me so happy about this graph is that it's almost entirely flat. Meaning a book from any one of the Booktone categories is just as likely to be loved by the average Goodreads user, aka the average reader, let's assume, than any other book. You can look at the quiz results and see that barely anyone ever gets international orange, meaning international orange books are sure to flop. But then if you look at the average star ratings for those books, it's actually a little bit above average. And I think there are two main takeaways from this. One, people enjoy books that aren't exactly their book tone. Yes, I believe that the closer you get to your true book personality type, the more likely you're going to like it, but that doesn't mean that all your favorite books are going to be that type, or that you're going to hate every book that isn't that type. Someone who is a red plot-focused type or a yellow atmosphere-focused type is probably still going to like an orange book. And also, I think a takeaway here is that every book has its audience. Yes, maybe people who are international orange types, which is emotional and a mix of atmosphere and plot focused, are a minority. But that doesn't mean that they don't read books and love books and find books that are exactly their jam. But now, what have I rated these books? This graph is showing the average Goodreads star rating for these 426 books. What did Chloe rate all these books? As you can see, it's significantly less flat. And as you can see, I have a particular dislike for atmosphere-focused yellow books, and we can also see that in the types of books I pick up. This is those 426 books and every type that they were. As you can see, I tend to pick up a lot of purple books, a lot of plot character books, because I really need a plot and good characters to keep me interested in a book. If you're missing one of those, I'm not going to like it. Or so I thought. And then I went a little deeper into this data. This is the graph with only books I have rated 4 or 5 stars. And all the colors without blue in them, without some character focus, gone. You're shrunken, you're out of here. But the books without much plot in them, the blue pure character focus and the green atmosphere character focus, stayed. So I looked at this and I said, wait a minute. Because if you had asked me a few weeks previous, what's more important to you, good plot or good characters? I would have said good plot. But then looking at this data staring me in the face, I realized that it's good characters. And looking at all of these books that I rated 4 and 5 stars, I had to confront that some of them didn't have that much of a plot focus. So taking this all together, I decided that I am not going to pick up a book if it doesn't have a character focus, because I'm looking for 5 stars here. And do I give 5 stars for books that don't have a character focus? No. There is literally only one book, and that was book like 17 of a series. So by then, I'm obsessed enough that it doesn't even matter. So I went through my want to read list. This is what I did. I went to the Goodreads page and I read a few of the 4 and 5 star reviews for the book and just saw if any of the reviews mentioned the characters at all. You know, that they liked these characters, that they thought they were well fleshed out, that they thought they had good arcs, you know, regular book review things. And if after reading a few reviews, none of those things were mentioned, I threw those books off my list. And that's the thing that I'm going to be looking for from here on out when I put books on that list, when I decide I want to read books, is, are these books really going to be for me? Are these books really going to be potential 5 stars? Because if a book doesn't have at least the potential to be a 5-star read for me, I'm not picking that up. I know my reading taste well enough, and I know it even better now after all of these graphs, to make that decision. If you want to make your own Booktone graphs, I've got templates. I'll link them down in the description along with a link to an explanation video of how to use them. So what's your Booktone, and what are tools that have helped you understand your taste in books? Please, I would like more to use for myself. And thank you for watching.